fuck saving the world. I'm just gonna pick flowers.
Yeah, I just want to float
pick
around.
a wife, adopt some kids.
Exactly.
Get some dragon
God
bones.
intended.
Main
I don't
plot.
wanna fight- I don't wanna
don't come
fight
from
some
this country.
goblins.
You guys solve it. Dragonborn who? I'm having a
Solve
nice
your
day
own
out.
problems.
I
Get
just
out of here.
I'm here against my will. Like, you all arrested me. You fix it.
That
Fix
was
your
an
own damn
absolutely
problem.
beautiful moment to take
I've
us live.
completed the main plotline once. I have 3 playthroughs. I'm just vibing in nature and
Incredible.
2.
Incredible. All right. We are here for a very special episode of A Season of Secrets and Shadows, where there will be no Rammies. That's a lie. I'm not going to lie to you.
Wow.
I've promised you that.
I
am
want a
sorry
ram
that
witch.
How long you been sitting on that one?
I literally just came up with it right now. I was like,
Rap's been sitting on that one since we started doing this bit.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't speak my mind right now, I'm never gonna have a chance again.
That was a choice. That was a choice, Raph.
Thank you.
I respect that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is the energy we're coming into tonight's session with, so this is going to be a good time.
Good thing we're in the palace.
That part is going to be fine.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
On a
about
mest, as it would be in Latin.
it. Yes, that tattoo that we are rapidly moving towards me getting. All right. So many. Yes. Oh my god. Okay. I need to organize myself and my thoughts. You have all derailed me. Hi, we are live from the apocalypse. We are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that does a whole lot of different stuff. It is incredible the amount of stuff that we do. Podcasts, actual plays, unhinged games like this that involve 2 tables of feral players and letters going back and forth and storylines happening between the tables. It's a lot of fun, and I will be very excited to see next week, especially, where things are at, as you both will be out of your time stops then. So, real quick, just some housekeeping stuff before we dive in. I know everyone is very eager to get to the plot of tonight's episode, but before we do, as I said, we are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio, which means that we raise money for aid organizations and progressive causes. We are currently raising money for the First Nations Development Institute, and at any point tonight, you can type !donate into the chat, and you will get a link. At that point, the McElroy brothers will yell and distract specifically Will. So, much like Della says with Thy Kingdom Come every week, you are encouraged to choose a moment where Will is having a big dramatic moment and completely throw him off, as he will be the one to hear that. So yes, rather than subbing, giving us bits, anything like that, we ask that any money you would give us go to the First Nations Development Institute. If you do choose to subscribe, as we cannot stop you, if you really want to give Father Bezos that money, you can. That is your choice. There will be a consequence, and that consequence is that Brendan Lee Mulligan will kill 1 dog for every month you have been subscribed. So, consider your options. Do you want that outcome? Do you want to just distract Will? Do you want to give money to a good organization? You have choices. Make sure you can live with yourself. And with that, I think we're going to move into introductions. And that means we are going to start with you, Stephanie.
I anticipated it this time. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm playing Rhiannon tonight, the witch. You can find me at SBrownWrites on Twitter or under the handle Lavenza in the Discord for Live from the Apocalypse, where I lurk, and also in the Guild Superior Discord as well. So I'm very excited to see what happens. You can also catch me in JD's upcoming game Redacted, which starts its next week, right? Yeah. Where I will be playing a very different character, and you'll have to swing by and see who that is. So let's get some Rammies.
Not the Rammies.
Not the
Always
Rammies. That means you're up next, Will.
Yeah, speaking of Rammies, hello, hi, my name is Will. I'm one of the storytellers and the organizers here at Live from the Apocalypse. I do a lot of things that I'll probably talk more about at the end, but tonight I am playing Lady Abigail Donatelli. I'm sorry, Miss Abigail Donatelli, not Lady, very specifically. The Queen Playbook, she, her pronouns. And she is a princess of hell who is going through a lot of stuff and does not have a soul and is kind of dealing with that for the first time. Anyway, there's a social media handle down there if you want to do that. If that's your thing. If not, that's totally cool. But that's basically what I got going on right now.
I mean, that's a lot to have going on for Abigail. But again, I'm sure that it's fine. And another character and player who I'm sure is fine is JT.
I am perfectly fine, of course. Hi, I'm JT. I'm at WeebGeet on Twitter. My pronouns are they, them. Tonight I will be playing Octavia Frostpin, Lady of the Winter Court, who is, maybe for the first time since this started, going to be dealing with some rammies, depending on how the night goes, which she's actively looking for a way out of. But I guess we'll find out. Until then, I'm just along for the ride.
That is the way to be. And last but not least, Raph.
Hello, I'm Raph, and today I'm going to be playing Carmen Deloso, ex-bachelor, now lips locked with Lady Rhiannon. Boo, Carmen, boo. Say what you want, but Carmen's dreams have come true. So, no Rammies tonight for Carmen. Everything's good here, and that's that.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Hi, I am JD. I am the storyteller for this game. I usually am a player with Live from the Apocalypse and a variety of other channels. But yeah, much like Will said, I will give more of that information in the outro because I am ready to just have us dive right back into the action. Since you all have been frozen in time for 2 weeks. And that is the longest stretch we have gone without anyone being able to write a single letter. In fact, I think this will be the first episode since we began where not one letter will be read.
So strange.
Let's all
Honestly
sit with
painful.
that tension. And so, with that, a lot happened in the last episode. Quite a bit. You all, first of all, were invited to the palace, but it took a while to get there. In fact, you almost escaped reaching the palace by the end of the last episode, but not quite. There was a lot of unfinished business that needed to be tended to. Some notable moments: Carmen, Damien, and Isaac shared a moment at the graveyard. Damien also received a letter from Miss Abigail Donatelli that was quite revealing into both of their histories and some of the dynamics therein. Rhiannon had a particularly rough time of it. A lot of things that were not particularly good. For instance, they saw their maid, Noelle, having an encounter with Miss Donatelli. Most trusted confidant, perhaps not so trustworthy. And that led Rhiannon to make some choices, including trying to get a look at Miss Abigail Donatelli's private life, which did not go particularly well for Rhiannon, who ended up in her darkest self right before she was heading towards the palace.
It's fine. Bonham asked.
Lady Octavia Frostpin, on the other hand, continued to struggle with court dynamics that she had previously been unaware of, and a definite betrayal from her tutor and confidant Helix, who had hidden all of this from her. Not to mention the deal that she made with the king of the Winter Court regarding what would happen when Prince Reynard's murderer was found. And the four of you ended the session having reached the palace. Abigail and Rhiannon getting along in a way that really never could have been imagined prior to this moment. And as you were waiting in the library, Carmen and Rhiannon shared a moment. A pretty dramatic one, given the location the two of you were in, and given that not only was it observed by Miss Donatelli and Lady Frostpin, it was also observed by Seneschal Julius Shaw, who stepped out from a secret passage, cleared his throat, and after sighing heavily as he stared at all of you, asked the four of you if you wanted to help solve a murder. And that is right where we are going to begin.
Why do you need our help to solve a murder?
Has there been a murder? How terrible.
Excuse me.
Octavia! Oh
Oh, I meant, my mistake. I thought another murder is what you were saying. My mistake. You meant the other murder.
The original murder.
Yes.
Original?
Has there been another? Now I'm
But
confused.
to be clear, there's only one murder.
Is there only one?
Such a tragedy.
Horrible.
no!
Julius looks like he is in pain. He genuinely looks like he is in pain. As he just looks at each of you in turn. And then just says,
What are we doing? Oh, God.
Terrible decisions.
technically speaking, this season, there has been just the one murder, which, yes, is the one that I am referencing. That said, and he looks at you, Carmen, I am not certain that is the only murder that we're perhaps investigating.
Took a while.
You don't think there's a connection, do you? If you
Well,
want us involved in this, you should tell us, Seneschal.
I was about to. You all had a lot of thoughts, and I wanted you to have the chance to express them. But to the question of why each of you, Carmen, that should be obvious, given that,
I'm
yes, a factual statement technically, yes, the reason. Also, because I do believe that there is a connection between what happened to Prince Reynard and what happened to you and your brother last year.
I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
And I will be happy to share them.
And the rest of us, Seneschal.
Yes, Miss Donatelli. You are here because of your father. Because your father and his associates, well, they all, and that of course includes you, now have targets on their backs. And I do not and did not believe that it was fair to investigate without a representative being present. Your father made it clear that you would be willing and were interested in being more involved overall. That is why you are here.
And why does this investigation fall to you?
Who else would it fall to?
And the number of people, I would imagine the authorities, the Winter Court. Have you shared all of your findings with them? Abigail will give Octavia a very friendly look.
That is the reason for Lady Frostpin's involvement as well. Again, there was much talk of who would be involved in this investigation, and a representative of the Winter Court was elected. Your father, Lady Frostpin, recommended you, and that was, well, I can't particularly say seconded, given that he has the highest authority, but King Laszlo also put your name out as someone that he wanted to see involved in this investigation.
Great. Happy to be of service. They could have recommended Helix.
That would
you-
have been the kinder thing to do. It's very rude of them, given that it's her first season.
I'm no investigator, Seneschal. That is all I will say. Helix is more worldly and capable of these things.
Then I must trust that the Winter Court put you forward for a reason, even if you cannot see the reason right now.
Of course.
And me? I hope it was more than just being his former fiance.
Well, to be frank, that is the primary reason for your involvement.
It's fascinating you'd go for the former fiance and not the current mistress, but I suppose that was a choice.
And he takes that in and then nods and says, "Point taken."
Hmm.
Though I still think that you are a proper representative, and your father certainly thought so.
Hmm.
To speak to Miss Donatelli's point, why me? The reason I am in this role is because whoever did this is aiming to cause division within the supernatural community and the greater world at large. I have been designated the impartial. person to put together essentially a task force to get the answers. And you four are the lucky ones who have been chosen.
And are you, Seneschal? Impartial?
What makes you ask that?
Propriety, let's say.
He actually gives you a look with a modicum of respect and says, I am. It is my duty to be impartial.
Can I gaze into this dude's abyss?
Just gazing straight in there.
baby.
Words
That's
again.
so.
Yes.
That's. I.
How dark is your abyss? Is it as dark as mine?
Stop. That's enough.
Sorry.
Come on
hey,
now.
Hey, an abyss could be anything.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Cool, I got a 2. So, fuck me.
Whoa!
Absolutely
Experience.
incredible.
I'm
Yes.
really close to getting an advance, though.
Yay!
Absolutely.
And then it's over for you
incredible.
bitches.
I don't want to know what's going to happen at that point. I'm scared of this outcome, Will.
I'm dark as self. Let's fucking go. This is a future Rhiannon problem, not current Rhiannon problem.
You keep saying that, and I am concerned.
Those Rammies are going to cash in eventually.
No.
No, it's going to
No
be
Rammies.
Grammys always
No
cash in for
Rammies.
Rhiannon every episode.
We're full on ramwiches, guys. It's fine.
Jesus.
Okay, they were definitely holding on to that one.
Yeah, you've definitely been thinking about this for a long time.
Let
bro.
me tell
There's
you,
no way you
slipped
came up with it on the
it slipped
spot.
out. I'm a
It slipped
comedian.
out.
I'm funny.
slipped out.
I'm funny.
So, Abigail,
Yeah.
what were you trying to ascertain?
But I mean, whether this is like a trap, what he wants out of this, mostly just like to get a read on the seneschal.
And so, with it to Abigail, there is nothing. Like, you are very good at picking up energy, we'll just say picking up the vibes, like, let alone finding actual information. And when you look at Julius, there is an absence of any of that. He is just gray. There is nothing you can pick up. You don't particularly get a sense either way. It doesn't feel like he's necessarily trustworthy. It doesn't feel like it is necessarily a trap. It is just a blank space around where he stands.
Okay. Fun.
He does look at you and raise an eyebrow and inquire, any questions, Miss Donatelli?
Just the obvious ones that we are all here to answer.
What about the rest of you?
What do we receive should we succeed, and what is our punishment, undeserved as it may be, should we fail?
He seems, the first part, like, he nods, and then you bring up punishment, and he looks surprised and perhaps even a bit confused. He is not trying to hide the emotions on his face and says, I would not see any reason for there to be punishment if you were to fail. You are here to help. The failure would fall solely on me.
And what would become of you should we fail?
Well, that would be for the Queen and Sovereign to decide. And I would
So your
accept their
life is in our
judgment.
hands.
You all are being very dramatic. They are not going to execute me if we do not find an answer. More horrific things could happen if we do not find an answer, but those are going to impact everyone.
Why, you think there would be another murder?
I'd like to clarify, I'm not with them. My question was purely as a means of ascertaining any extraneous motivation. You saw earlier they were both quite deprived of oxygen, so I'll ask you to excuse them as well. For me.
Octavia.
My Octavia.
Lady
We're all friends
Frostpin.
here.
I did not expect that from you. Such candor.
I've had a day. I did not expect to be called into a murder investigation, and quite frankly, I don't want to be here.
I appreciate your honesty.
What about a reward?
Yes, the reward. Well, for starters, one reward will be that the supernatural community is not fractured and thrown into war, which I think we can all agree would not be a wonderful outcome.
Agreed.
He clearly waits for the rest of you.
Thought that part went without saying, Seneschal.
I feel like cards are on the table.
I think we're all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the fairest bit of a foundation for us to build off of. So that is reassuring to hear. As for an actual reward, while I cannot guarantee the breadth and scope of it, the Queen and Sovereign would certainly owe a debt of gratitude to each of you.
The Queen.
The Queen.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Buried the lead a little bit, didn't you?
And again, I cannot speak to the breadth and scope, but I would imagine the Winter Court would also want to express their appreciation for those involved.
I think we would all be happy to do this just for the sake of our dear friend Octavia.
She certainly had a terrible time of her first visit to London.
That's true. We should show a better face.
Interesting that you say that when Lady Octavia has just made it clear she wants limited association with any of you, but
That's just her way, Seneschal. We know how she really feels about us.
Oh, you do?
We
Of
have to
course
start
we do,
somewhere
dear.
to win him back.
well, I mean, if all you would be looking for is Lady Frostpin's favor, perhaps we can take the Queen's favor off the table as well.
No.
No, we
I would
won't be
like
doing
that.
that, Seneschal.
Yeah, no, I
I'd
think
like to. Just to be clear, my favor doesn't mean anything. For the record,
Octavia. It means so much. You are our friend,
It's a sentimental
and
meaning, Octavia.
yes, we
But
don't want
also
you
the-
to hate us,
But also the Queen's reward, yes. Of
yes,
course.
but also the Queen.
No,
That
I will
would
be
be-
taking that favor.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like there would be a lot of rewards in helping out with this investigation, and we can start with each of you telling me a bit what happened the night of the party after the opening of the season. I have it on good authority that all four of you were there. And that was the last place Prince Reynard was seen.
he was there.
I
He
didn't
was.
see him.
He
He
was.
was.
Hmm. Interesting.
I usually knew where he was. He was finding it very difficult to understand the meaning of the word no. So I unfortunately had to keep reminding him.
And what did reminding him look like, Lady Rhiannon?
Well, it was during the opening ball when he approached me and attempted to plead for my hand back, and I politely refused, and he was rather cold, no pun intended, of course. But I was nothing but polite to him.
And what about at the party?
He attempted to speak to me, but I rebuffed him.
Before we continue, you came out of the wall. Is there anyone else listening?
Of course not. Would you like to
Similarly,
roll to manipulate an NPC?
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah. Yeah. What is that? That's with hot, right?
Yep,
that's what hot.
that's what hot.
Ooh, my hot is probably not good.
Hot
It's a
tomboy!
negative one. My
That's my
heart is
dark.
cold and
Yeah,
so
but
is my hat.
you're gonna roll a 12, so it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's a -1. Actually,
What did,
Did
you?
you?
no,
No, I
Five
shut
rolled.
up.
scores?
No, I didn't. I came close, so I rolled 2 5s.
Ooh!
Pretty good.
But -1 is a 9, so
Success.
Yeah,
still
that is
things are
still a
good.
success.
Yay! I did it.
Yeah, Carmen.
Julius studies you for a moment and then asks, "What are you afraid of being overheard, Mr. Delosa?"
Well, since we're currently in the middle of an investigation and we're not sure how deep this goes, honestly, knowing who knows what is helpful. If there is someone else hiding within the shadows, so to speak, that might wander off and spider their way to their master and give the wrong information to the wrong person or the right information to the wrong person, well, we don't want to feed it, do we? That's all I'm saying. I think enough secrets have been kept from us.
I think that begs another question, Seneschal, which is you asked us to assist you in this investigation. Are we under investigation?
Few things happen in relatively quick succession. So as you are speaking, Carmen, I will mention the passageway has since closed up and is just a bookcase once again. Julius has a fairly impassive face up until you mention the word master, and you see his jaw clench the slightest bit. Just a brief moment, at which point, taking in what you and then Abigail have said, he first directs his attention to you. And after a pause, says, "You have quite good instincts for this, Mr. Deloso. There is no one in the passageway, and there is no one who could be eavesdropping. I ensured that this room would be secured when we all went to step into it. Because you're right, I would not want anything that is shared here to go to the person who did this and give them a chance, for instance, to escape."
I appreciate that. I've been killed before, and I would like to avoid it for the future.
As would I. I would like for there to be no further murders this season or any other one. And to your point, Miss Donatelli, and he looks at each of you in turn. And then back to you, Abigail, and says, "No one here is under investigation. You have all been cleared of any wrongdoing, at least in terms of this."
You're muted.
It's not interesting being good all the time, Seneschal.
Precisely to my point, Miss Donatelli. But no, I do not suspect any one of you in Prince Reynard's murder.
Well, who do you suspect then?
That has been difficult in that all of the evidence points to this being, well, the work of hell.
Yes, it's very sloppily obvious, isn't it?
Very uncharacteristically so.
Precisely what makes it suspicious. Speaking of which, though, Miss Donatelli, you said that you also saw Prince Reynard the night of the party.
In passing, yes. He had recently had some business dealings with my father. I stopped to make pleasant conversation as he was accosting Lady Carewood.
I was all right.
Of course you were.
Yes.
Lady Frostpin, had you heard any conversations about Prince Reynard's dealings with hell? As that piece is news to me.
No, I was not typically made aware of the dealings of the royal family. All of my attentions were to be on my studies, and the after party is no different.
The dealings were very boring, very uninteresting, just transportation mostly.
That does make a few pieces fit into place for me then as to the reason Prince Reynard was chosen.
Well, of course, yes, but rest assured, Seneschal, if my father had wanted the prince dead, there wouldn't be an investigation.
That is disconcerting to hear, Miss Donatelli.
And that's a good sign.
Yes, that certainly does not fit, as you had pointed out earlier, with how sloppily this was handled. Well, I can see. And he pauses there once again as he studies each of you and says, "It is fascinating that were I not to know better, several of you would be under investigation, and it makes me wonder if that was intentional as well."
Probably.
We're lovely. I don't know who anyone or what anyone has against us.
Yes, certainly. Lady Frostpin is new to London. She can certainly have no enemies here.
And oh, how quickly they make themselves.
Yes, it is rather unfortunate how that does work out.
Perhaps in the spirit of our arrangement, Seneschal, you could answer another question, now that we've answered yours.
Please.
What was your opinion of the prince? His character?
Octavia, cover your ears.
Miss Donatelli, I don't understand how that is going to help us with our investigation.
I think it could tell us a great deal.
Lady Frostpin, would you like to recuse yourself from this conversation?
Do I have to come back?
You do.
Then I'll be fine. I'd rather have all the pieces available than miss one.
You know, for those who talk of friendship the way the other three of you do, things seem rather, dare I say, frosty here.
Rude.
Point
Octavia is
taken.
still warming up to us.
That
It's hard,
is also
you know.
rude.
Well, you can't blame her. She did not have the best perception of me.
Which brings us back to the prince.
Yes.
What was your perception?
I do not believe that Prince Reynard was a good person. I am sorry if that is difficult for you to hear, Lady Frostpin.
No more difficult than it was to hear on the night of his funeral.
And my sense is that the four of you in this room, given what Lady Carewood has already said, and your comments there, Lady Frostpin, you already have the measure of his character.
And you believed this from the start on meeting him.
I did.
And you kept it to yourself. I wonder how much pain I could have avoided if I had had a simple warning of his true nature.
Lady Carewood,
Yes.
you of all people should understand when it is and is not the seneschal's place to interject in courtly affairs.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm saying this from a personal perspective. I would have been saved much grief and manipulation if I had received any type of warning. At least there would have been an attempt made, and then whatever choice I made on the matter was. And if I chose wrong, that would have been on me. But at least I would have known something. But I didn't. And I wonder how many other young women like myself were in similar situations and received no warning, and no one murdered their partners.
What I mean to say is that, like you and this supposed marriage contract, Seneschal might not have equally had a choice, and should not be faulted for withholding information if it is not their place to give it. All of us had our hands tied at some point. Those bonds are gone.
This is true, of course. I'm not familiar too deeply with your court system, but your hands would be tied, wouldn't they, Seneschal? They were royal. You'd be
I would. That said, Lady Carewood, and to acknowledge other statements made, those bonds are not always in place. And so while I can hear your anger, in this instance, it is not me that you should be directing that anger towards. It is your father.
Oh, I'm aware of that too.
I told him.
I'm gonna
And-
make a
and
keep
I'm
your
gonna-
cool
yep.
roll.
Oh,
No.
Raph gone.
Rav gone. It was too much.
Too much. We
Too
Too
didn't
much.
mention
Carmen was
runes.
filled with rage to murder my dad and just.
You said the word dad, and Rav
Mhm,
just
yeah.
couldn't take it.
Hello.
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 Welcome back.
No.
We will no longer use the word dad.
Yes, the second we say it,
We're,
Rav drops out
we're
of the call.
sorry, Raph.
Experience. That's a 4.
Dear
Let's
God.
go.
Let's
go.
go.
We're
Rammies.
having a normal one tonight.
Yeah,
Right.
no. Like I said, it's Rammies all the time for her. Apparently. Let's see. So Rhiannon. Oh no! Fucking
We weren't even talking about dads.
No.
It's Rhiannon now.
Raph, no.
They'll be back. They always are.
Damn you, Florida weather.
I know.
Give me my zombie friend back.
Shimmy crickets.
We need them.
Jiminy crickets. They'll be back.
No, Raph.
I will not have my turn of phrase co-opted.
Some boyfriend.
Some boyfriend.
Zom boyfriend.
boyfriend.
Yay!
Friend.
Sorry, that thunderstorm is getting real.
Apparently.
Like
Apparently.
the weather. So yeah, that's a 4.
Okay.
So Rhiannon hears that, and the flowers she's wearing in her hair start sprouting thorns that are just kind of slowly making their way down her hair and kind of starting to like wrap around her neck. And she's just like, of course you did. Of course you did. But he doesn't care about me. That's the problem, Seneschal. He doesn't care because I'm not what he wanted in a child. Never mind that it's not my fault. He couldn't have more than one. But no, we have to blame me.
Rhiannon, your powers are starting to extend not just to the thorns and brambles,
Mm-hmm.
but to the table behind you,
Oh.
which is starting to decay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. She's not gonna stop that. Fuck the furniture.
Oh my.
She doesn't say that. She's just like kind of shaking with anger, and it's just like, of course, but my father was not the one to tell. But I retract my statement. You tried. That is more than he did for me. It was just derision and punishments and being reminded of how disappointing I was just because I didn't want to marry someone who I assumed would hurt me because I had good evidence that he would, and I'm still not convinced that he wouldn't, given the games he was playing with Emery. You have spoken to noble Emery, haven't you?
I have.
Where were they the night of the party?
Not where they were supposed to be.
Which is where? Where were they? Where were they supposed to be? By Reynard's side, but where were they?
Lady Caerwood,
No, I mean, she's right.
you cannot possibly be using a way of using cold iron.
It's just a question.
Perhaps they saw something. Perhaps they know who else Reynard might have angered given their intimacy. Oh, Seneschal?
Well, I am a bit concerned about what is happening to the furniture right now, and Mr. Deloso also looks like he is displeased with the turn this conversation has taken.
He always looks like that.
I'm mostly, and maybe this is a private conversation with Rhiannon, because it's a little personal, but I'm curious as to why your father was so pushy about you and Reynard.
He was a prince. And any
Is that
further
it?
info, well, I imagine the rest would be in whatever is in my marriage contract that I have not been allowed to see.
Is
Would
that
you
allowed
like
in the
that?
Fae?
Are those a matter of court record, Seneschal?
They are.
Huh.
If I haven't signed it yet, would it still be a matter of court records before it was signed?
It would.
Interesting.
I think we would very much like to see that.
I would very much like it if you could find a copy. Perhaps that might give us some information we didn't have that would be very useful in this endeavor.
I can certainly obtain that.
Wonderful.
To your question about Emery, I have it on good authority that they were involved in a bit of a dalliance of their own that evening.
She does laugh at that. Really? With who?
That is not for me to say, but it does give them an alibi.
I suppose it would give their lover an alibi too. If I'm assuming other people saw them and not just, oh, we saw each other.
There
Seneschal,
were. Yes.
don't you
Miss
think we
Donda.
should put all of our cards on the table?
Before it decays.
Randall will take a deep breath and try to at least slow the decay. No!
Wrath.
I'm gonna fight the storm.
Gonna fight the storm.
Fight the storm.
And I will either do manipulate an NPC or turn someone on. Your choice.
No?
I mean, I will give that choice to you.
Okay.
Which track is Abigail taking?
I mean, in this case, I want an outcome, not a string. So I guess I'll manipulate. Okay. Is hot. 10.
Ooh, very nice.
10 is, as always, very, very good. We love to see that. And Julius takes a moment, looks you up and down, and says, "That is a fair point, as was the one about the marriage contract." Very well. Emery, I cannot even believe that this is what I am saying, but Emery has apparently been doing something that they are not well known to do. They were with Father Ashley Donovan.
Yeah, they were.
And yes, I verified this through all channels. They left the party early to go meet up with him. Welcome back, Ref.
Yay!
We lost power
Giraffe's
for a
back.
second.
Oh no!
No.
So
You didn't miss anything, don't worry.
No, nothing
okay,
at all.
good.
Everything's fine.
I believe it. No reason to doubt.
No, we just found out that Emery was like with, Father Ashley Donovan during the after party.
Really? Interesting.
Eat shit, Renard.
Hey, come on now.
And so that, of course, gives both of them alibis for that night, which have been verified. You see, they were at the Infernal Church. And
A confession.
that is what they call it.
It is. It's the polite word for what they call it.
Particularly as it is not completely private. So, yes, there were additional alibis.
Octavia
It's-
looks so lost at this.
It's quite
Incredible.
liberating.
I don't
I'm sure Abigail will be able to fill you in after this.
want Abigail to fill me in on anything, no offense.
None taken. But it is quite liberating. Confession.
Why don't we just move past that?
There.
Now, I would like to ask the four of you, what cards have you not yet put on the table?
I think Carmen looks a little bit nervous.
I think the card that I would like to submit, Seneschal, is that there are perhaps a handful of secrets you already know, and that this may be some sort of test to see what we put forth and what we keep to ourselves. And I think we could expedite things if you tell us what it is that you know about us that you're holding so close.
Do you all consent to your secrets? You good, Raph? You good?
We're teetering and tottering here, but I'm hopeful.
Do you all
Either we tell you, or you tell us, correct?
Just tell us. I don't have anything that I can imagine would be more humiliating than what I've already experienced.
I have nothing to hide from my friends.
I have no idea what's going on and don't know that I have anything to share. So,
Well, Lady Frostpin, there admittedly is not much that I can say about you. Because your secrets are your family's secrets, and they are not here to consent to those being shared. What I do know is what you have been tasked with. And that does make my job slightly more difficult. If you are to be the one to bring Prince Reynard's murder to the Winter Court.
yes. A thought about that, actually, Seneschal. I was tasked with bringing whoever this is to the Winter Court when I found out. And quite simply, the reason I don't want to be here is because if I don't find out, I don't have to leave. And I would really prefer not to. Cards on the table.
And so your preference, Lady Frostpin, would be that when it comes time to find the person who did this, you not be involved at all. So you never get that information.
Cards on the table, Seneschal.
Interesting. Miss Abigail Donatelli, I know of your relationship with Mr. Dorian Black.
Well,
Dorian.
He's a very good
seems
card player.
seems like there was
That's
some
fair.
truth to those rumors.
He's a very good card player.
Has he also been to confession?
Why are people confessing stuff to the Infernal Church?
They have a different interpretation of confession.
In fact, I have heard his confession many times.
Does he tell you the same one every time? I don't. That seems repetitive.
I'm not going to tell them.
You are too pure for this world, Octavia.
What?
Well, with those cards on the table, Lady Carewood, there is not much more that I can put on the table that you have not already.
Of course not. My breakup was very well known.
It was, though the exact reasons for it have not been known.
Oh, well, let me enlighten you. I witnessed what I thought was a legitimate argument between Prince Reynard and Noble Emery, in which it resulted in him slicing off their finger. I then learned during the funeral that that was apparently all a ruse to manipulate me, and it backfired a bit in that I broke off the engagement and refused to resume it. But at the time, I ended the engagement because I didn't want to risk having his temper target me and then lose a finger. I'd rather lose my reputation than a limb. And so I did. And I
Well.
did not make it public because, well, I wouldn't want to speak poorly of a royal member of the Winter Court.
With all due respect, and certainly with no offense meant for Lady Frostpin, I have no allegiance to the Winter Court.
Mm.
My only allegiance is to the Queen and Sovereign.
Why would you be offended by that? You're not a fae.
If that opens up the door for Lady Carewood to speak their mind, I would not want to cause undue offense to you, Lady Frostpin.
I'm no royal.
Well, we have those cards on the table, which brings me to you, Mr. Deloso. Do you want me to lay those cards out, or would you like to do that yourself? I do not know what the others are aware of.
Oh no!
No!
Carmen yeets out the window.
Yeah. Bye.
Bro.
Yes,
Hey.
maybe?
Yay!
Yay! Carmen does
Takes
not
a
go out the
second.
window.
Extremely
All right.
inopportune.
Listen, I am afraid, so I was saying it makes it difficult because I don't know what it is you know.
Yeah,
So-
just
Have
fucking grip it, baby.
Hey.
Slop that down, dude.
Thank you for the
you.
donation.
Incredible.
Ma'am.
Thanks, Will's mom.
Thanks, Will's mom.
Thanks, Will's mom. Is she allowed to stay?
No, she's not allowed to stay. Get out of here.
Aw.
Don't let her know
You
about
can
the infernal
stay.
church.
Yeah. No, you can totally stay.
No.
Stick
It's like
around.
10:30. It's like 10:30 in Canada. Go to bed.
Incredible.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, Will's mom.
Good night, Will's mom.
Good
Good
night.
night, Will's mom.
Carmen, you
I
could just have him tell.
um
Oh,
Carmen,
Oh no.
I think he's just going to step back and say, bro, okay.
Hey.
We're just in and out right now. We're just in and out.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
you
working
can-
with it.
Tenuous
Listen.
piece.
He steps back and I think he looks around to see if he can pour himself a drink, and he's like nervous and shaking a little bit. And he says, I just need a moment to clear my thoughts. Please.
Rhiannon kind of, she doesn't get into his personal space, but she does kind of stand to be in his vicinity should he choose to, and just kind of quietly offer her hand.
I think while that's going on, Abigail is going to take the opportunity to get closer to the seneschal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh my
please
god.
do now.
No opportunity missed.
Incredible.
Oh, I see. Going for Astrid's ex.
And I think while Rhiannon is kind of preoccupied with Carmen, who's having this moment, not sure if Octavia is listening or not. Abigail's fine either way. But she will lean
What does
in
that mean?
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Yeah, which one?
One Julia sent last time.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're getting to.
Ooh, good stuff.
Abigail's gonna sort of lead in to the seneschal and kind of look up at him. Her eyes very big, and say, you've heard our confession, Seneschal. Is there anything that weighs heavily on you? I will roll to turn him on now if you want.
I will have you do
What
that.
what does confession mean?
When you're older. 13.
Ooh,
Jesus Christ.
chili crickets.
Rolled a 6 and a 5.
Oh my god.
Temperature just increased 10 degrees in the library.
Miss Donatelli.
Yeah.
Octavia's actively cooling the room.
There's a window. Look at the lovely gardens, Octavia.
Interesting. Okay. And he looks down at you with initially that very guarded expression that betrays nothing. And
Seneschal,
as
there's so much talk of rewards and punishment, but they can be the same thing.
What?
his expression starts to break a bit, and he looks into Abigail's eyes. Abigail, you can tell you're not entirely sure what he wants, but he wants something. Like, this is a man teetering right on the edge. And he just looks down and asks, "What do you want from me? A confession? Something more? A night together?"
Abigail her expression's going to change a little bit, and she's going to give him sort of a questioning look back. Huh. People always want something from you, don't they? What do you want?
I have never been allowed to have anything that I want. There has always been a collar on me.
We could change that. Collars can be fun for a little while, but they come off.
Not mine, Miss Donatelli. Not mine.
Shame.
If it were possible to take my collar off, I would have, if it meant being with the person I love.
Love is powerful, Seneschal. But there are some things stronger. Darker things.
I have been walking that line for a very long time, Miss Donatelli. I am not sure I am ready to falter now.
Well, if you tire of being a good boy, you know where to find me. Sorry, I just saw the meme and I almost spat the wine out.
Abigail, I mean, you see the hunger in his eyes, and he very much is like struggling to keep himself composed as he says, I will take that under advisement, Miss Donatelli.
Intimacy moves?
Yes. Yes. Intimacy moves.
God, Abigail's harem is just growing.
I get a string on him, and he gains the condition one of them.
Yep.
Now he's part of my gang.
Octavia is so flabbergasted by this scene. She's got no idea what just happened.
So with that, we are also going to activate Julius's intimacy move.
Oh, what is that?
And he
Purposefully did not look it up.
Yep.
I forget what the Cerberus one
Interesting.
is. What is it, JD, or are you not going to say?
I am. So I have to, because it happens in this moment where he says, you talk like there could be a day where I do not have to walk that edge. No, Raph.
No.
They're gonna miss it.
They're gonna miss it.
Up in Florida, man.
They'll be back. They'll be back.
Yeah, they'll be back.
Fingers crossed.
They'll be back.
He looks at you, Abigail, and says, you talk like one day I could not have to walk that ledge. Do you truly believe that I could be a part of the same world that you are a part of, rather than keeping to the edges and perimeters?
It's a real question? Okay. I believe that anyone can make their choice. And people say such unkind things about the darkness and the shadows. But they do hide so very much, don't they?
And do you believe that I would fit in there, that I would belong in that world of darkness and shadows, that it would accept me?
I think you'd look very handsome at my side.
Is that a genuine statement from Abigail?
Yeah, as like part of her, entourage. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Interesting. He now has a string on you.
That's fair.
Oh.
And He nods in response to that and says, well, Miss Donatelli, this has certainly been illuminating. Though perhaps distracting from the matter at hand, which is, of course, finding a murderer.
Yes, you are going to get Lady Carewood's marriage contract, I believe.
I was. And I trust the four of you to not cause any destruction of property.
We're in the palace, Seneschal, of course. That would just be rude.
And he
What could we
just
possibly do?
gestures to the partially decayed table very pointedly.
That
It was like
was
that
not
when we got here.
intentional.
It was not, Miss Donatelli.
You have so many tables, I'm sure.
Hey!
Oh my
Yay!
god.
Hello,
That's
I
the
lost power
coolest.
again.
Raph is back.
That's the coolest intimacy move ever. Wow.
I know. You missed all of it.
Honestly, I
Wow.
was so mad.
Can't believe we're all so intimate, and Carmen is just
I can't
drinking
believe that.
wine.
In the corner.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you guys hear that? It's
Yeah.
real,
Oh
my
God.
dude.
It's
It
wild.
is bad out there. Anyway, I'm
God,
here.
I can't believe we triggered Octavia's intimacy move while Raph was
I can't believe you
distracted.
guys had a confession just now.
Yeah.
Mm.
A lot has happened, and
Anyway, fine.
with that, as you see Seneschal Julia Shaw disappear back into the corridor that he came from, I would like to put the spotlight over to Rhiannon and Carmen, as you two are sharing a moment while Octavia is trying to ignore the moment that is happening between Abigail and Julius.
Poor Octavia.
Just very confused. Also, I might go out again. I don't know anymore. So just be aware. I apologize.
It
Fine.
happens. It's okay.
Yeah, no
Oh,
worries.
anyway. Yeah, I think Carmen is just like desperately trying to, he's almost like making a round around the room, looking for somewhere, just something to do with his hands. And so I think he just kind of instinctively goes and pours himself a drink if there's like a bar cart or something like that available. Or even just like starts picking books off the walls and like putting them down and like just kind of nervously touching things. His palms, Damien's fingers. Uh, and as he sees Rhiannon kind of coming closer and approaching, you can see he's shaking a little bit, and he just says, don't touch me. Don't come any closer."
She stops. All right, I'll stay right here, if that's acceptable to you.
There's something you don't know that unfortunately others do. And if that is the secret that Seneschal would like to share, I feel it is only fair that you know before the rest of them. To be totally honest, it would just be Octavia, because Abigail does know. Though it
Oh.
was not by my intention.
Oh, I see. Yes, Abigail does have her ways of finding out all sorts of information.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is, and I think he just kind of it takes a long moment. Like he's really trying not to, like trying to decide what to say. And then he finally says, Rhiannon, I'm scared of what might happen between us. It's nothing about you. Honestly, we kissed earlier. Wonderful time. But even that, I wasn't sure how it would play out. I promised Fitz that no harm can come to you. And I desperately want to keep that promise. Desperately. But to be honest with you, I don't know if I can. I don't have full control. And it seems to be slipping. Honestly, every day. New things
Control
happen.
of yourself. When
You could say that.
when you touch others?
Sometimes. Sometimes it's just when I'm around them for too long, if I'm feeling too much, if I'm nervous or anxious or my heart is pounding more than I can bear. And unfortunately, I feel those things around you a lot. And they're great. They're good feelings, but they can be overwhelming.
I would imagine so if they make you struggle with control. But I'm not scared of you.
I'm not scared of me.
What's scaring you then? If it's not yourself or myself? What has this hold on you?
You know, it's funny. When my parents put me back together, well, it wasn't them specifically, but when I was put back together, my parents made a point to replace my fingers with Damien's, so that if I ever were to marry, the ring would be on his hand and not mine. He was the firstborn, and so he deserves everything that comes with that title.
They did this deliberately.
They don't prefer this version of us,
But they
but
deliberately did that with your hands.
it was a choice.
It was their choice. Yes.
I was dead, to be clear. So
I've gotten that sense.
they don't know that there's more than just fingers and a foot and some other parts that join my brother and I. He is alive, so to speak. That's probably not the word for it. Honestly,
In the way you are alive?
no. Yes, sometimes. It would be easiest to show you, but honestly, again, it would be putting you at risk?
Whatever is more comfortable for you. I can handle myself, and I'm not afraid of you. And I don't fear Damien. From what I recall, he was a gentleman. And
He
maybe the
was.
situation is strained now, but it sounds like he's still your brother.
He is. And I love him dearly. And I would do anything for him. I'm not even upset that they did the whole finger thing, because honestly, he deserves it.
I'm upset they did that.
I digress. But um
Where is your brother, Carmen?
he's he is he is a part of me. He
It's the ambiance. Jesus.
Jesus.
I don't know if Jack can hear that.
A storm rolls over the
it's
palace.
it's getting real close, so I don't know how long I have. He's latched onto my soul. We share a body, and sometimes we share more than that. I'm usually the host. I'm usually in control. But certain things bring him out.
So, because they used some of his remains to piece you back together, you're entwined.
I don't know how it works, but I
It's
suppose.
fair. But they're not aware of this.
No, but to be completely honest with you, Abigail is, and I'm assuming the Seneschal is, and Fitz has met him, also not on my terms. But I wanted to tell you sooner and in a better way.
That's
And
why you ran away from me at the party.
yes, he's not stable. He takes without thinking properly. I cannot blame him for this.
What does he take? I won't tell anyone.
Well, I don't know how it happens or what it does for him, but it seems he takes fragments of people.
He takes a bite out of them, or
No, not literally. At least not yet. No, he takes memories or feelings or anything. It feeds him.
Carmen, you hear Damien's voice say, "You're not being honest with her, brother."
Can Abigail interrupt?
Sure.
I would love that.
Then Abigail, who has moved closer as the seneschal leaves the room, very casually says, "Souls."
Hi, Abigail. Souls?
He takes souls.
And that is where we are going to break.
We don't have to take a break tonight. We can actually I'll just play
Yeah.
through.
All right.
Yeah. We're gonna run
All right.
late anyway.
Yeah.
So-
It's true. I mean, that is fair.
It
Which is why
happens.
It's
We're not
Friday
gonna let
night.
JD
We may as
stop.
well
Yeah,
just
sleep
go
in
over the
tomorrow.
next
Yeah.
2 hours.
I won't sleep.
listen, we need to model healthy hydration, healthy stretching, healthy getting up from the computer.
Definitely.
If not for ourselves,
Hydration is good.
for
Yes.
everyone watching.
Well, let's do that for 10 minutes, shall we?
That's fair. We can also make it 5 minutes if you are so desperate to come back.
Figure
Yeah,
it
like a
out.
speed run.
I think I can get water in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yes!
Please, no. Begging.
Dear God.
I'm saying it would be a
Incredible
hit.
tonight.
Oh my god, it would.
I want a perfectly regular one.
Just a
Yeah.
flight of drinks named after the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah,
Yep.
what would it be like? Just
I mean, it would
Actually-
have to be
bar?
built out of a church. Like, it would have to be.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
actually, there
Repurpose a
is.
church.
Now that I'm remembering this, I'm having flashbacks that there is a bar in St. Pete that is actually like that. It's
Oh.
like all Catholic, Gothic, and it's red and like, yeah, everyone's dressed like priests. It's wild.
Really?
Okay, that was a piece I
Crazy.
wasn't expecting.
Yeah. It's
Oh, no,
interesting.
Oh no.
Vibes.
I'm
No.
not allowed to go to that bar, clearly.
Yeah, that's the name
Well,
of
you're
the
not in
bar.
Florida, so. Oh my
That's
god, what
fair.
a vibe.
Yeah, what a vibe.
You have to like state your confession when you walk in, or you state your sin. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love
it's a
that.
time.
That sounds
It's a
incredible.
good one. It's a fun one. Drinks are very good.
It better be if you're going to confess to get into them.
It's true. So we are having a very normal conversation here and a very
Yeah.
normal time
Oh,
tonight.
souls.
We're building a company brand. I've got the marketing materials right here. The pitch. It's ready.
And so, diving right back into the action where we just paused, speaking of confessions,
Oh God.
Herman was desperately trying to confess and giving
Avoid.
Rhiannon part of the story, but not all of it.
And I helped.
And Abigail helped.
Abigail, so kind. So
Listen,
thoughtful of her.
Carmen is shaking in his boots right now.
And so, Abigail, would you like to give us your last words before we had stopped?
Souls. He takes souls.
Damien told you that himself? Or did he try to
In-
take yours?
Can't really.
Oh?
Can't take what's not there, Rhiannon.
That's fascinating. Why?
Don't look so surprised. It's not the first time you've thought I was soulless.
I hadn't thought you soulless for a few weeks. Cold and manipulative, yes. Enjoys playing games with people's emotions and minds, not soulless. But that wasn't because of Damien.
But that's the thing, isn't it, Carmen? I'm safe. I don't have anything for you to take.
That doesn't mean he won't try. He still gets hungry. Whether it's you or someone else.
Is there any way to help him not crave souls.
Well, I was hoping to tell you once we've solved the mystery of what happened, or I don't know. I thought maybe if we knew what had happened to us, we could.
We still could find those things.
And until then, you're in danger. And honestly, I mean, so is everyone here, but mostly you.
Mhm.
I can't help how I feel around you. And unfortunately, he has once, but I owe him everything. I feel as though there are certain things I cannot deny him. He's just trying to survive. I wouldn't want him to take anything from you, which is why I've been trying to be careful. It's hard. It's hard when you're here, when you're around me, when I think about you.
Have you told him this?
I think he knows. I don't know, to be honest. He's not a bad person.
No, I don't remember him being a bad person at all.
He's good. He just needs help. And I have vowed to do that for him.
I could help too. If it's some way to heal this wound the two of you share, I can see what's in my power to help, or what I could learn or find. I might have access to materials you don't.
In the
I want
meantime,
to say yes.
there are so many people with souls that squander them.
Believe me. If you've ever just been wandering around town, you've seen them. The victims.
Well, what would you have him do, Abigail? Go to a prison and have a buffet?
Perhaps not prison. Can think of a few places.
I'm sure you could.
Do people in the infernal church have a soul? Does your father have a soul?
It depends. I'll say this. I wouldn't recommend starting there.
Mm.
Maybe the other church first.
Well, I used some type of magic to bring you both back and then make you like this. Maybe
Do you
there's. Hmm?
actually, Where? Okay. Rhiannon, do you know anything about bone magic?
This is
I don't think we're allowed to
unfair.
use that kind of magic here. I think that's copyrighted.
Taking
the
it from
doc.
you, JD.
The Doc Brown meme. What game is it?
Those words are illegal in this setting. I'm just saying.
There were, to clarify,
Of course.
and I think I want to like bring out the crumpled drawings that I have, very crude, of the things that were on Damien's grave.
100%. So yes, Rhiannon, you look at this and you know enough about magic. You have studied intensely your entire life. You've been forced to. What immediately strikes you, and it's pretty much back to back, is I recognize this as magic like what I do, but not like what I do. This is not from a witch who uses elemental magic. This is from a witch who uses infernal magic. But you know enough, there is enough overlap that what you can gauge is that this, whatever this is, and it's a little hard to tell because it is a crude drawing.
Yeah.
It's bad. He's not an artist.
It seems to be something that would have positive qualities associated with it, not negative, despite how it looks. It does not look like a hex, for instance.
Okay. Well, it's nothing bad, I can tell you that much. It's from an infernal witch, not an elemental like me. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but I'm not getting something with ill intent from what you've depicted here.
Can I take a look at it?
You totally can.
Feel free, Abigail.
Would that be gazing into the abyss again?
It would.
Ooh.
See how it goes.
Interesting.
Interesting. 5. I fail, but I get an exam in advance.
Are you at 5 now?
I'm
Ooh.
scared.
Oh, you get to
Oh,
take
no.
a new skill or something.
You said it was
We
over for us
fail
when this
upward
happened.
here.
What are you getting?
It's a good question. I have so many options. I'll think about it.
Okay.
But in the meantime, yes, this means nothing to me.
It feels like something that should feel familiar, Abigail. In fact, it kind of like teases and tugs at the edges of your brain that it doesn't immediately resonate with you, though this is witchcraft, and that is not something that you have any need to do.
Well, I suppose while we wait for the seneschal, does anyone have any thoughts on who might have had the drive to murder the prince? Sorry, Octavia. I was bringing up your late cousin. I don't suppose you had any idea of anyone he had gotten on the bad side of?
No, like I said, I'm not. I wasn't allowed to be privy to my cousin's affairs before arriving.
What about you, Abigail?
What about me?
Do you have any thoughts? I mean, he was in contact with your father, so I'm sure you saw things or overheard things.
They mostly kept it to a business relationship.
Miss Donatelli, if you don't mind me prying, but is there anyone that you are aware of that knows how to do infernal rituals like what they did to my cousin, but isn't a member of your church? Is that something that you guys keep tabs on?
That's an interesting question. JD, would I know anything like that?
I think it would be fair, given what your father recently asked you to do and the information
Yeah.
that he shared, to point the spotlight potentially at the Connellys.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
What an interesting question. There are, it's believed. I mean, witchcraft is witchcraft. It can be learned, it can be practiced by anyone with enough motivation and access to resources. As a matter of fact, there is one prominent family that I'm beginning to suspect might dabble in just that.
Hmm.
We
Which
all know
family?
the Connellys.
They always pass themselves off as mortal. Though,
Which is not mortal, Lady Carewood.
fair point.
Actually, if we are putting cards on the table, I met with Isaac.
You did.
Yes, a few nights ago. Mostly to tell him about Damien because I thought he deserved to know, seeing as he seemed like his heart was in the right place and they were betrothed and all. He told me about these things on Damien's grave. I was going to take one. I thought it was perhaps some clue or something I could dismantle, or I don't know. But he stopped me. He knew what it was. He also wasn't allowed to tell me anything about that night.
As in, he refused to say, or
As in, he
wasn't.
couldn't. It was caught in his throat.
Then I wonder if he's the one who put those on Damien's grave to protect him in some way.
But Isaac's never done magic before.
He did have something magical in his possession at least last year. I came across some of his belongings during a party and I felt something magical, but I left it alone. I thought it odd at the time, but people can get enchanted items.
I feel like
They're
this wouldn't be something he would have kept from Damien.
unless it was
Maybe from
something
me.
he couldn't tell Damien. You said he couldn't talk about any of it. Maybe he can't talk about any of what he's capable of.
If he wanted to protect Damien, perhaps he could have stopped his family from murdering him.
I would prefer if we didn't discuss our primary suspect further, at least until the seneschal gets back, and I can take my appropriate leave of absence.
It's
Yes, there
true.
was one other I had in mind, actually. But, would you like to cover your ears, Octavia, or would you rather wait?
Well, having multiple suspects isn't the same as having the person.
I received some information before the murder. that there was a rumor that the Lord General de Villiers had some eagerness for a war with Hell.
Hmm.
I believe that was his title. Fitz's father.
A war with Hell.
He's a
Yes.
Using the
military
Fae.
man.
He has
If-
no love for the infernal.
If the Fae believed that Hell murdered one of their own, then they would ally with England's forces. Or they could even pull in England's forces because it happened on English soil. Therefore, there would be an expectation for their assistance because of where it was committed.
I
Extra
have
forces.
discussed this possibility with Captain de Villiers. I do not believe it is the work of his father.
Oh,
Question then, Miss Donatelli, or if any of you know, is the Connolly boy due
Isaac.
to Isaac due to engage with anyone? Perhaps an eligible child from the de Villiers family?
Oh, not that I'm aware of.
I had thought they might have been angling for something with Mr. Black, given that they sponsored him at his presentation.
Isaac would not.
That
He's
would work.
told me,
Well, then it's
He
his
would not.
parents.
parents aside, you don't have to do what they say. And
No.
Isaac has approached me as a noble man and said that he would not. At least not yet.
I meant
But
no
he does.
disrespect
Still
to Isaac's character.
But he does have to do what they say, doesn't he?
Just as I have to do what my parents say, and Lady Carewood mostly does what her father says.
And he couldn't
think-
speak of things.
Yes, he couldn't speak of things, but that doesn't mean acting on those things. Do you think? Does magic go that far?
Strong
I
magic.
merely mean to
I guess
speculate,
it brought
is
me
all.
back. So.
If the de Villiers had something to gain from murdering my cousin, and the Connollys stood to gain something from using their knowledge of infernal magic to do so, an accord may have been met, and Isaac may have been forbade to talk about it. I don't know how that infernal magic works, but I imagine it can prevent someone from speaking.
It does. From what I've seen.
I would not underestimate it. I could tell any of you to step off of that balcony and fall to your deaths. And you would.
I'd take you with me.
How romantic.
Mm.
Is this more flirting?
Small confessions, don't mind it.
It is at that moment that
Timing.
the passageway opens up again, and Seneschal Julius Shaw walks in with a piece of paper in his hand. And for someone who looked so impartial and reserved before, he looks troubled. And in fact, he's looking at the paper as he walks in, and then glances up to look around the room and pauses and asks, "Is everything all right?"
We were theorizing.
Could ask you the same thing.
Lady Carewood was flirting with me.
That's true. I'm pretty sure that's true.
Absolutely not.
I don't want to know any of this.
I mean, if you
Please.
took that
You
as
asked.
flirting, that says an extraordinary amount of things about you, Abigail.
I thought we had confirmed it was flirting before he walked back in.
No, it was stated with confidence. It's
Okay.
different.
No, Abigail and the Seneschal earlier was flirting Octavia.
I was flirting.
Well, it
I
was
thought you
leading
were
up to what.
threatening him.
Well, I guess it was more closer to what the Infernal Church calls a confession.
Now you're understanding it.
What's wrong, Seneschal?
Is that my contract?
There is so much wrong in this moment.
You're welcome.
However, Lady Carewood, I am concerned about the contents of this contract, particularly because it is not the one I recall last seeing. I cannot say when precisely it was updated. There was no reason to keep an eye on it after the engagement was ended. But the initial contract was standard by Fey convention. It was designed to be a marriage of equals between the two of you.
Mm-hmm. And that's not what this is.
That is not what is reflected on this piece of paper. This piece of paper instead gives Reynard access, or I should say would have given him access to your power and abilities to use as his own. And it
That-
would have granted you nothing in return.
That surely would require a ritual, not just signing a document.
Marriage is a
Oh.
ritual, dear.
Especially
Precisely.
Fey marriage.
But I would have had to read that before I signed it.
You also saw someone cut their finger off.
Glamour is powerful for many things.
And Lady Carewood, I cannot speak to what would have happened had this fallen through the cracks the way it almost did. You would not have gotten any power, but your father would have.
What would he have gotten?
He would have been granted a favor from the Winter Court.
Does it say what the favor is?
The Winter
Is it a
Court,
son? It's a son.
Oh!
Not even gonna roll for it. Rhiannon is just going to disintegrate the rest of the table.
I think even Octavia is freezing up at this point.
But why Rhiannon? I mean, there are so many witches.
that I cannot say for certain. Though Lady Carewood. There have been a lot of rumors about your birth, and I do not know how many of those are true.
That
What's-
sounds fun. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, why
Hold
not?
on.
Let's talk about that.
Do you want to have this conversation in private? This is clearly not part of the investigation.
This is private.
Mr.
Away
Deloso
from
does make a valid
you.
point.
You dog.
They've already heard you make those statements. What's the point in separating it? The rumors are already existing. Let's just have everything out in the open.
Well,
For better or worse, from this moment on, we have no choice but to trust each other.
Yes, and then you can tell me what you were doing with Noelle afterwards.
Incredible.
I don't feel like I'm equipped to be handling all of this.
Listen,
Let
I don't know what
Octavia
they're
say
talking
fuck.
about either.
Octavia
Let
say
Octavia say
fuck.
fuck.
Again, these are specifically rumors, and I do not traffic in rumors. Hence why certain murders have not yet been fully resolved to my liking. Lady Carewood, there was talk of how hard it was for you to be conceived.
Mhm.
And there are rumors as to what your parents may have done to ensure that would happen and what deals could have been made. I would imagine that even if those rumors are not true, that is enough to garner you undue attention.
Mhm.
And I am sorry to be laying so much of all of your respective personal business on the table, though we did discuss putting all of the cards out there.
It's technically my father's personal business. He's the one who made these decisions.
And if it were not a part of a contract that involved you, much like with Octavia's family, I would not have shared what I have.
Well, that does rule out my family.
From the murder, yes.
From the murder.
Mr. Deloso, your history was the one piece we did not get to.
We covered it while you were gone.
I don't know how much Octavia heard.
I didn't do anything.
Go ahead, Seneschal.
Well, to put it simply, Mr. Deloso, Mr. Deloso and his brother Damien are intertwined. And it would seem that Mr. Deloso's brother is rather hungry.
May I ask, where did you get this information?
I was going to ask the same thing.
You seem to know a lot about our personal secrets,
That's his
some
job.
of which I have only told to a handful of people.
Mr. Deloso, I can see your brother when I look at you. And I can see that gnawing pit inside and what it is filled with.
It's his job to know all of our secrets. They tug the leash, and he goes digging for the truth.
Miss Donatelli is not wrong.
Like a truffle pig.
There's no
Mr.
need to be
Deloso.
rude, Carmen.
That was cruel.
That's accurate.
It is not a pretty sight to have one's secrets laid out and to know that you were not in control of them being discovered.
No,
I
it
do
seems
not
I have
fault.
nothing in control.
That is not an untrue statement from what I have seen, Mr. Deloso. Though, speaking of you, and speaking of control, what do you remember of the night that you and your brother were murdered?
Do you want my memories? Because I don't remember much. We were walking from the closing ball back home, stumbling, I should say, and I heard my brother shout, and then I saw nothing. Afterwards, I woke up, changed, different. That is what I remember and what I saw.
And what of Damien?
I don't know. He hasn't shared that. I know perhaps another perspective, but I do not know who it belongs to.
And what is that perspective, Mr. Deloso?
I think Carmen just kind of like glances at Abigail for a moment and says, I don't know how accurate it is. It seems more like a dream, really, than a memory. But I saw Abraham and I smelled sulfur. And I watched us fall.
Miss Donatelli, how does that fit with what you know of your father?
Can't imagine what my father would gain from murdering Damien Deloso. And he's not exactly the type to get his hands dirty.
No, it's not.
Hey JD, I have a question.
Please. I've been
So,
waiting.
so one of Rhiannon's hexes that I took is watching. It's where you enter a deep sleep and see the world through the eyes of the hex. You can feel their reactions and impression of what they're seeing. Is that restricted to present moments?
You know what? We're going to keep it feral, and we're going to
Ah,
say that is not restricted to present moments.
oh my
Rammies,
goodness.
What token did
Yum, yum, yum. Rammy
what token did
Sammys.
Carmen give Rhiannon for that kiss?
I think during their little conversation, or maybe after they kiss, I don't know. I just, I think he would have quickly leaned down and said, I cannot promise you much, but know that I will promise you everything. And then I think he gives her the bear sigil ring, the family ring.
Nice.
It's like a little bear. It's golden.
Oh.
Emerald eyes. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Little baby bear.
Baby bear.
Just a little baby bear.
Full grown.
Little-
Full grown
little
grizzly.
Baby.
It's a
Just a
cub.
little cub.
It's
Yeah.
full grown
Just a
grizzly.
bebe.
Serene's gonna pull out the signet ring and stare at it for a moment, and then she says, Carmen, I could try to find out what happened that night.
Can you?
If you agree.
Of course I agree. Well, just does anyone have a weapon?
I can make one.
Perfect.
Why do we need weapons in this moment, Mr. Deloso?
We don't.
If you say so.
Seneschal, is the library... We won't be interrupted in here, right? I'm going to do a ritual.
As I said before, this room has been designed to be a secure and private space.
Wonderful. So she's gonna...
Yeah. If we're gonna go deep diving into someone's mindscape and attempt to suss out their murderer, might I take a leave, Seneschal?
If you feel that now is the time for that, Octavia, you may, though I would prefer you not be wandering around the palace at this time.
Can she just be outside the room?
If this would not feel too obtrusive, Lady Frostpin, perhaps you could, and he gestures towards where he had stepped out of the private corridor behind
Oh.
the stacks.
It would not.
Can you make an ice knife though before you go? Just in case.
Yes, absolutely. She'll pull off one of her white gloves and just clap her hands together, and when she pulls them away, there's like a perfect little ice dagger, and she'll offer it to whoever's.
That's beautiful.
That is wonderful work.
Trick of the trade.
I
go.
think I think Carmen takes it and gives it to the Seneschal.
Again, Mr. Deloso, what need have we of weapons in this moment?
I don't know what's going to happen, and I wouldn't want Lady Carewood to be in danger. It's just taking precautions, really.
It's very sweet. She's been like setting up, like she's been using like the detritus from the table to like draw like sigils on the floor. She's been grabbing like petals from her hair and ripping off thorns and just setting out the space, and then kind of sits in the center and holds the ring. And do I need to roll for the hex? Is it dark?
I'm gonna have you roll with dark.
Perhaps speaking of caution, none of us should be alone. Perhaps I should accompany Lady Frostpin.
If that is acceptable to you, Lady Frostpin.
No touching.
No
Wouldn't dream
flirting.
of it.
No confessing. That's a 13. Woo!
Incredible.
Fucking
All right.
Amazing.
So, the Seneschal opens up the passageway and allows Octavia and Abigail to step inside before closing it behind them. What do the two of you do once you are behind that solid wall?
Yes.
I think Abigail is going to smile at Octavia and say, I suppose we should get lost.
I already feel lost, to be quite frank with you.
Don't worry, dear. I won't let anything bad happen to you.
Dear. Are you not the least bit curious about who is responsible for this?
I am, but I couldn't pass up an opportunity like this to wander the
Like what?
castle.
Oh, well, fair. I don't intend to meander too much, but I won't stop you.
You're not the least bit curious about what goes on here, what secrets they're hiding.
It's not really my place to be curious.
Hmm.
What?
Have you ever considered, Lady Frostpin, that perhaps your place is wherever the fuck you decide it is?
I don't think that my parents would be very pleased with that conclusion.
Are they pleased with you now?
Mostly.
Hmm.
I think.
I would not be the right person to ask. Parents' love is fleeting. You earn it, they take it away, you earn it, they take it away, so on and so forth. It's just another collar.
That's not what parents are like for us. Oh, they're like for me. My parents
Hmm.
doted on me. They spent their own money keeping a tutor around until King Laszlo decided that Helix was of some use to us. And they sent them with me when I was to come here. But they've never been cruel to me. They've never dictated what I ought to do. They said, well, we're sending you here to do exactly what you're going to do. Although I don't know if they anticipated that I would be complicit in investigating a murder.
Cruelty can look like so many things before you realize what it actually is. They do that,
Not
don't they? They dote. When you're good, they dote. And if you're always good, then they never stop. The only way really to find out is to do something wrong.
perhaps that is correct, but I, again, have no interest in doing that.
Understood. Would never dream of pressuring a friend. If you want to stay here, you're more than welcome to.
I'm not going to walk.
Then let
I'd
us
like to be
walk.
as far away from this foregone conclusion as possible.
And so the two of you are moving down the corridor. We're gonna come back to the two of you.
Oh
But
boy,
before
Grammys.
we do, we are with Rhiannon, who is doing a ritual to look back at what happened that night.
13.
How are you involving Carmen in this ritual? Or are you?
Does Carmen want to see what happens?
Absolutely.
Is there a way I can have him see it with me?
There is. You would have to be touching him, though. You both would be having to touch the object together.
Carmen, you can see the night I'm going back to if you want. You don't have to. It's a terrible night, but If you do, you have to be touching my hand because of the ring. And if you're not comfortable with that, that's fine.
Seneschal, don't hesitate.
Hesitate.
I am getting very contradictory messages.
I'm the one doing the ritual.
I think Carmen is going to.
Mr. Deloso, but before you take any further
Okay.
steps, I just need to make it clear to you I am not authorized to harm you in any way, shape, or form.
Oh my god, give me
Above
the
my pay
knife.
grade.
That is not something. Your parents agreed for you to come here. They did not agree for me to have you not leave.
Abigail's gonna be so pissed when she finds out you needed somebody to hurt Carmen.
Hey! Yeah, fair.
My
Brilliant.
parents don't command my will,
Masterwork.
nor do they command Damien's. No one commands Damien's. Like I said, it's just precaution. If he can't harm me, then hopefully he doesn't attack anyone. And I think Carmen's going to try to take a moment and breathe and just try to connect with Damien and say, they're just trying to help. They're going to help you, brother. They're going to help both of us. Let's find out what happened. Actually, what happened. Please, please, please let this work. And I think he's going to take Rhiannon's hand.
You don't get a response from Damien.
Okay.
And so,
Like at all?
Like at all.
Interesting.
She starts the ritual.
What does it look like when Rhiannon does this ritual?
I think once everything has been set out and they take Carmen's hand and focus on the magic, it starts like the petals from her hair start kind of falling, but like the flowers never run out of petals. It just kind of falls down around and they kind of scatter to where the sigils are and cover it, and the sigils turn like mossy and green and it smells kind of like the forest. And it's just the whole like inside the circle, it's very like mossy. It pulls nature up from it.
Beautiful. The seneschal watches from a bit of a distance, and the room around the two of you begins to fade. For you, Carmen, it is not unlike when Damien takes control. You feel yourself falling in darkness, but the difference is this time you still feel Rhiannon. You are not untethered and falling. You are falling but connected to her. And for Rhiannon, it is not dissimilar to when you have scryed on others, like you recently scryed on Abigail, and you are able to be present with them in a moment in time. But this time, it is also like falling through a void. It lasts longer where you are in that liminal space between. Until you find yourself and Carmen standing and watching. And this is the part that is not usual. Usually, you are in someone else's skin, effectively, when you do this. But instead, you and Carmen are standing on the side of the road. And you are dropped right into the middle of the action.
Fuck.
You see 4 figures surrounding the Delosos. And I will not get graphic in my description, but what you see is horrific.
Just
It-
gripping Carmen's hand very tightly.
And even in the flashes you have gotten, Carmen, you have never seen it this viscerally. You know, in essence, what was done because of the condition of your bodies, but you have not seen how that happened. The 4 figures are all wearing black hooded robes, and so you cannot initially, at least, see any of their faces. But their sizes tell you some pieces of information about them. There are 2 that are smaller. There are 2 that are larger, though one of them is very lanky and thin, while the other is broader. And you see these figures, once the Delosos are no longer living, start to draw out a circle, much like the one that was around Prince Reynard. You notice it is 2 of them that are doing that rather than all 4.
Only one is doing that?
2 of them are. The other 2 are watching. And in that moment, Carmen, your concentration is pulled by Damien suddenly reappearing. And that is because in that moment, one of the figure's hoods fell back. And in the moonlight, he recognized Isaac.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I fucking knew it.
Bitch, what the fuck is he?
Damn, I had that down pat, huh?
How does he look? Does he look distraught? Is he just chill? Like,
Probably looks fine with it.
His eyes are actually blank.
oh.
They're glassy, they are unfocused.
Oh, fucked
But
up.
Rhiannon, you are the only one who notices that.
Great.
Damien is just filled with absolute rage. What do you do?
Which one of us?
I'm gonna ask Raph first.
Can I do anything?
You have at least one option available to you. You can burn a string.
Oh, I forgot. Wait,
You
do
have
I still have a
one.
string?
You have one last one,
Oh
Oh,
no! Oh no!
which
hold on.
will mean that
Oh.
Damien has strings on you, and you no longer have strings on him.
Oh
Grammys.
no!
Damien Damien already has 2 strings on me.
Yes, he
He's about to have
does.
a 3rd
Nar.
string on me.
Oh god.
I have so many strings, y'all.
Oh, Jesus.
You know who also has a
Nar.
string on me?
Fucking tapestry over there.
Isaac.
Yep. Isaac does have a string on you.
Also Octavia. I
Nar.
have lots of
Yeah.
strings, y'all.
You do. Octavia has 2 strings on you.
I don't know.
Shame
I don't know why.
I think I will.
Oh, I have a string on you.
Everyone has strings.
Oh, you
Everyone
do.
has strings
Everyone's
on
got
Carmen.
strings on Carmen.
Yeah. He's just a stringable
So
guy, you know what I
popular.
mean? 1 string per finger, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay, I think he's going to use a string he has on Damien.
Oh.
What are you going to say to Damien as you do that?
I don't know. I think I'm once again trying to like send out emotions of not calm, not like not reluctance. I don't know what it would be, but just like wait, patience almost. Frantic patience, I suppose. And he would say, brother, wait before you do anything rash. I know you're angry. I know you're upset. I'm upset as well. And I promise you we will have our vengeance. But if you do something now, we won't know what happened. We won't know who the rest of these are. These monsters. We have to wait. Once we know, then we can act. And I won't let I won't hold anything back. I won't stop you. I promise. You deserve this.
You do not get an answer from Damien in this moment.
Oh.
You just get a burning, feral, snarling rage. But he retreats.
Rhiannon is watching intently because she wants to see the other figures are. Like, nah. She got 13 on this fucking roll and she's dark as self. She's going to get their identity and what the fuck is going on. She's the witch.
And it is clear as things move forward that they are not feeling the need to be as careful as they had been. And something that stands out to you as you are a witch is that one of these figures, the one who is not working on the ritual, or what appears to be a ritual, they seem to keep shifting in height, going from larger to smaller and back again. And you're realizing that you are able to see through their glamour.
Damn right I am. This is my fucking spell.
It is your spell. And that cannot cover the magic that is being used. You are able to strip that down. And it doesn't take long for it to become apparent that Duke and Duchess Connolly are the two who are creating that circle. But that fourth figure, honestly, you stop watching the Duke and Duchess because you know what you're going to see. I mean, it obviously won't include Cold Iron again, but there have been enough descriptions of what was around Prince Reynard to gauge that this is the same exact type of situation. But the figure that is glamored initially to look like Abraham Donatelli, that slips away, and you see a figure, and it's hard in that moment to know why you recognize them. Well, you're going on a facial journey. I am so intrigued as to where you think this is going.
I just want you to say it.
Who is it?
That is actually where we are going to cut
No.
away.
No, fuck you.
We're not ending. We're not ending. We're not ending.
We're not ending.
Okay.
We are not ending.
Okay. You can sleep in tomorrow.
We are moving back to the two who are in the corridor. So the two of you are moving through these secret passageways in the palace. The ones that only the most trusted have access to. As you move forward, where do the two of you go? There are options. There are twists and turns, and there are places where rooms can be observed.
Now that a certain seneschal is in my gang, I would like to read his mind to find out what the juiciest options here are.
And with that, you're able to lean in and just skim the surface of Julius's thoughts and get from him the layout. And what would, of course, immediately become apparent is there is a limit to what is accessible through here. I mean, certainly access to the Queen or Sovereign's private areas would not be. But there are well-guarded but interesting places that you could go. One of them comes about fairly early on in the walk, and that is, well, where the blood is kept for Sovereign Micah.
Okay. So how is this, like a door also, or is it just like a peephole?
It is both.
Okay. Does it look like there's anybody in the blood room?
That is the worst way you could have described it, and I hate you for that.
It's literally the blood room.
Who's in the blood
bank
room,
would've been more
JD?
apt.
Yeah.
Who is in the blood room? That is a really interesting question, because the figure in the blood room is the same figure that Rhiannon is seeing in her vision right now. And so you, Abigail, and you, Octavia, if you are looking through, see someone that Octavia would not recognize at all, because this is her first season. Octavia would notice what is happening if she is looking, and that this is not an okay thing to be happening, but she wouldn't recognize the figure. But Abigail, this is not your first season, as is well established, just like this is not Rhiannon's first season or Carmen's first season. And what would strike each of you first is the resemblance to Captain Fitzgerald de Villiers. You would see Colonel Horatio de Villiers, who you know is the head of the Palace Guard. Putting some sort of substance into Sovereign Micah Bellamy's blood.
Oh, bitch!
Okay. I have so many questions. I immediately have so many questions.
You hear ice cracking from Octavia behind you, sort of peeking over your shoulder as she's sort of generated another knife and is ready to go.
How much is he putting in?
So,
Like, is he poisoning the whole supply, or is it like a limited thing?
So, clarification, she is putting in.
Sorry.
Yeah, she is putting. It looks like you're not 100% sure because she was obviously in here before you looked in.
Oh, this is Fitz's crazy sister. Okay. All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That is the one.
Cool,
The renowned duelist, all
Horatia,
of that.
not Horatio.
Horatia. Yep.
Horatia. Right.
You have seen her target at least 2 bottles.
Okay.
She does not know you are there.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Abigail, even I'm not that naive. We have to do something.
Abigail will sigh heavily. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to think of
The most feral option, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, all right, cool. Abigail will step out into the room.
What does Octavia do?
It's rough, because I don't know if Octavia knows what Horatia is doing. I think that much is clear. Someone is in here tampering with liquids that I'm not sure Octavia is aware of what they are or who they belong to necessarily. They're in the castle, so I think she's discerned that whatever this is important. And so I'm trying to figure out if she's capable of making the necessary leap to know if she's supposed to be actively doing something or just waiting for Abigail to give an instruction.
Would that be a keep your cool?
I think so. Yeah. Roll to keep your cool.
Cool is Octavia's specialty. She's so icy.
Roll with what, cold for that one?
Yep.
Okay, I have a negative one for cold.
Oh!
That's a 5 minus 1 for 4.
Oh no! Experience!
Bruh.
Yes, so good that we fail upwards.
I do get to mark an experience, my first one. Oh boy.
Oh my good god. How does that make sense?
A -1 to cold here from the Winter Court, the irony.
Well,
So
because
I
the players are supposed to be
cares?
goofy little emotional
Yeah.
guys, and so they're not
You're
very
just
good
a
at like
little
not
guy.
wearing their heart on their sleeve.
It's small.
Just a low guy.
Little guy.
Just a little guy.
So I'm going to ask you, JT, in this situation, would Octavia be more likely to run and distance herself from something that is so out of any of her experience? Or is this the moment that like she comes in
Is this the
Guns
moment she says
blazing.
fuck?
Is this the moment she says fuck?
Oh my god. Octavia snap moment?
You know what? I'm gonna roll a d20.
Yes, 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 yes.
That is under 10. So what I will say is Octavia uh, does keep in mind that Abigail's going in, but shoots ice from her foot to attempt to freeze Horatia in place, and puts the knife out, pointing at her.
It's a combat.
What the fuck do you think you're doing?
So sorry, babies.
Amazing.
Oh my god, yes, dude. Absolutely
Amazing.
beautiful.
I'm gonna give you that for free because Octavia said fuck, and that's just amazing.
Yes. Only Abigail. Well, Horatia, but she don't count.
And so, yes, in this moment, you have frozen Horatia in place. You have a knife made of ice pointed at her. What does Abigail do?
I think Abigail is going to look over her shoulder at Octavia, just like a damn.
You would see that Octavia, normally the frost just does like random patterns up her arms and over her body, but the ice is pretty much just like in streaks down her face and very pointedly just coming from the knife, like the source of where she's generating the knife.
It's Horatia, isn't it?
It is. What are the two of you doing interfering in palace business?
Investigating.
I did not realize they were sending children to investigate these days.
Hmm. Perhaps we are. Perhaps we are children. But more than that, do you know what we are about to be? You and I?
Enlighten me, Miss Donatelli.
We are about to be very, very good friends.
Abigail, I can't let you do that.
Octavia?
I think I'm starting to put something together, and I really wish I wasn't. But I have a duty to my parents.
Don't do this.
I have to. I made a promise.
Octavia, don't make me do this.
You can just step away.
So can you.
I can't. Abigail, I don't think you understand what a promise means to us. If I walk away right now, I am a treasonous. I'm a traitor to my king, to my people, and to my family who trusted me.
Octavia, I like you. I want us to be friends. But if you don't walk away, I will make you. This is your chance to decide.
Abigail,
Are
you
you
have to make me.
Abigail is going to look, she's going to shift her gaze. She has not looked away from Horatia. She has kept her eyes on her. She still thinks she's the bigger threat. She's kind of having this conversation with Octavia over her shoulder. And at that moment, she's going to turn her head and she is going to look directly at Octavia. And she is going to say, with power sort of infusing every syllable of her words, the sort of universal cosmic truth echoing behind her words and her cadence. And she is going to say, do what you want. And I don't know how you want to handle that, JD. Because I'm assuming there's like some pact, there's like some levels of pacts and shit going on here, but
I think I would like to let Octavia determine what that means. Whether that means she's going to follow through with her duty, or if that means Abigail did lean heavily on the word want. If she is going to choose to remove herself from this situation so that she does not have to fulfill that duty.
Can you promise me that none of this will be tainted?
I don't know what that means.
What she's doing to this stuff. Can
The
you
blood?
promise me that none of this will be tainted the next time that the sovereign or the queen or a servant comes in here to fetch some?
I promise.
Octavia, in that moment, your ice starts branching out, and you don't know how or why, but it starts targeting some of the bottles and freezing them over. And you know that that will irreparably damage the blood that is inside and make it undrinkable.
I think then, knowing that this blood, whoever it's for, isn't going to make its way back to the sovereign, or in the particular case that she's concerned about, back to Elise. She's going to let Abigail's power take her, and she wants to drop the knife and walk away.
And you are able to do that, Octavia. You are able to get back into the corridors and disappear into them. Abigail, when you look back, you don't so much register the second part because, well, of what is going to come before that, but there is a part of you that registers that Horatia has been silent because Octavia's ice has covered her mouth. She has literally not been able to speak, but she has been able to move. And there is a sword pointed directly at you.
That's fine. Horatia does not have a string on me.
That is true.
I got an advance earlier. I took a move from the vampire playbook called Hypnotic.
Absolutely fucking incredible. Absolutely fucking incredible.
So I'm going to roll with hot, if that's all right.
Please do.
And that's an 11. On a 10 up, They do exactly what I wish
Yep.
and have no idea that anything is wrong.
Absolutely incredible.
I can't.
What do you want Horatia to do?
I think in this case, when Abigail looks at Horatia and she has the sword pointed at her, her voice, she has always been able to do this sort of mandate thing, this sort of command, but there are a lot of downsides to it. It's kind of like her affecting her will onto somebody else, and it like has a psychological effect on them. If she does it too many times on one person, their mind starts to break because she's kind of, making them betray their nature, and subjugating their free will. But this, I think, now as she starts to speak to Horatia, it's a more fluid version of the same thing. She's not so much forcing Horatia to do anything she doesn't want to do. She's kind of working around Horatia's free will and convincing her that that she's doing exactly what she wants to do. And so she is just going to start talking, and it's kind of that same effect. There's still that same sort of echoing quality to it as she speaks, but it's more, it's smoother. There's less weight behind it. It's more subtle. And so she is going to say to Horatia, no, no, no. There's no need for that. Why don't you put it away?
The sword lowers, but it does not fully go back into the sheath.
I know your brother. I'm friends with your brother.
The disappointment.
You've made his life very difficult.
I did no such thing. He could not uphold the family name.
Family. There's that word again. It keeps coming up. I've never really had a family. Not really. But it seems to me that all family ever really does is disappoint you and hold you back.
I've been held back from nothing. This is my full potential. This is what I was meant for.
No. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're meant for. And then you're going to do it. And then, when you get the next chance, I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen, Horatia de Villiers. You're going to come back with me through the passageways. You're going to tell Seneschal Julius Shaw exactly what it was you were doing here and why you were doing it. You're going to confess everything, and you're going to tell him the truth. And then one day, when your usefulness is done, when I have no more reason to keep you around, I'm going to find you. And then I think you're going to fall from a very great height. Do you understand?
And Abigail, you cannot see this or really feel this. But I think it's fair to say this is the most Abigail has ever fully embodied her lineage. And from behind you, a shadow rises up. It is not the figure of your father, because this is not a manifestation of his powers. This is a manifestation of yours. But it is a large, winged figure. Whole fire spreading between the shadow. And that is what Horatia is looking at as you speak to her. And you see something that you never would have expected from Horatia. The person who has never backed down from a duel, the person who has won every duel that she ever fought. And she looks afraid. And she just nods in response. And this time does place the sword back in its sheath.
Abigail will step to the side and gesture towards the passageway and give her a very pretty smile and say, "After you, Colonel."
And she walks forward with her shoulders upright, head held high, and doesn't hesitate as she moves down the passage. Before we go to our final moment of tonight's session, where has Octavia gone?
I think Octavia's gone to find a way outside of the palace and just is looking for like the most private spot she can find so she can uh let go of the remaining frost and just cry.
And Octavia, as you are out there, you have actually found yourself not too far out from the stables. And as you are sitting there letting that emotion out, footsteps approach you, and a young woman dressed in a gray tunic with short cropped blonde hair just sits down a little bit of a ways from you to give you space. And doesn't say anything, but makes it clear she's willing to sit with you through that. And I think it would be fair to say, given your connection with Elise, you would realize this is Joe.
Just through tears, She tries to give a soft smile. Joe, right?
Right.
Cool.
You're Octavia, right?
Just Octavia soon.
You don't have to talk, but I'm here for whatever you might need.
I appreciate that.
And we're going to move back inside to where Rhiannon and Carmen are coming out of the vision
Stressing.
seconds before the passage opens up. And so, what do you say to Seneschal Julia Shaw, who has been watching this with rapt attention?
She's still gripping Carmen's hand, and she says, Horatio de Villiers, glamoured to look like Abraham Donatelli, oversaw the ritual with Duke and Duchess Connolly and Isaac Connolly, but his eyes were blank. They had him, I think, under some sort of compulsion. I don't know if he
Isaac betrayed
realizes.
Damien.
His eyes were void. I don't think he even realizes he was there.
I think he knows.
And that's the moment that the passageway opens up and Horatio walks into the room.
Oh, shit.
And Abigail follows shortly behind, and she smirks at everybody standing there and says, "Speak of the devil."
And she will appear.
And that is where we are going to call tonight's session.
Oh my god!
Wow. So
come on.
many.
Hey, we don't have to do that.
Ugh.
Oh my god! That was so good!
That
How
was
we all
wild.
feeling today?
I'm pretty good.
I am soaked in sweat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna murder my
100%.
father.
I'm
We're
about
going
to
to
murder
murder all the
Horatio.
fathers.
I'm just
All
happy
the
to have
legit-
satisfied
Put them in
all
a
the let
mansion.
Octavia say fuck
Yes,
fans.
Yes.
that was perfect.
Yes.
God,
Oh my
that was
god, I
so
didn't even
good.
realize that
JT.
Elise could drink the blood too. Oh
Yes.
my
Yeah.
god,
Oh my
Octavia.
god.
And here's I was
Start crying.
communing with Kit amidst it all. And I'd like to clarify, Octavia does not know that Elise is a vampire.
Oh.
It was strictly just, there's blood in here. Why is there blood in here? Doesn't matter. This could get back to Elise.
Yeah,
Somehow,
Oh.
some way.
that makes sense.
That's so
That
good.
makes sense.
That was beautiful.
That was so good.
That was so good.
I'm
Incredible.
Avic, Princess of Hell, let's go!
like jaw on the floor.
Oh, that hypnotize move, that was brilliant.
That
So
was
fitting
sick.
for
Just yank that
Abigail.
out of your pocket right
Oh
there.
my god,
I
that was
know, that was
perfect.
perfect.
That
Been
was-
Yeah.
holding out on us.
Yeah, one of those perfect moments of I have an advancement, I am going to use it, and it is going to be incredible.
It's going to be stunning.
I will say that I did check and make sure that Kit didn't already have this move, so I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes first.
Oh,
Beautiful.
how sweet.
Chef's kiss.
Wonderful.
Chef's kiss all around from all of you. You all had such brilliant moments.
I'm still dark
Listen.
as self. Fuck.
You whipped up some delicious ramwiches tonight.
Stuff.
Some Rammy Sammies. We're fed. We're full. So delicious with the side of consequences. It's good.
Some submarine rammies. Some submarine ramwiches.
Incredible. We're gonna have
The
to continue
5 foot
with
long
my,
Rammies.
Yes.
but
Oh my goodness.
I think it is time for us to do outros.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Sure is.
We
You
still
expect
have
any
to
of us to?
talk.
Yeah, I was
oh my
going to say.
god.
Oh no, I have to look at my schedule.
No.
Well, Steph, you're up first, I
Oh
think.
fuck! Right. Yep.
Steph is.
I forgot. Hi,
I always forget.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I've been playing Rhiannon the Witch tonight. She's having a better time. Uh, you can catch me at S Brown Writes on Twitter or under the handle Lavenza in the Live from the Apocalypse Discord and the Guild Superior Discord. Excited for the Rammies. Excited for the extra 2 episodes we get with the characters, and catch me next week with a few others in JD's psychological horror game Redacted and see what traumas we'll have there. Fresh Rammies.
The freshest of Rammies.
Mhm.
I guess that's me, right? Hi.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Will. I'm one of the GMs as storytellers and the organizers here at Live from the Apocalypse, and I do a lot of shit. And what do we have coming up? Sunday. Well, okay, no, let me start over. Tomorrow, you can catch me with Girls Run These Worlds, playing Jonah Hyam, the haunted quote-unquote survivor who is dead. Spoilers, he did not survive. But he is still up and moving around, and he is a golem made out of magic. It's like the second to last episode of that, I think, so check it out at 1 p.m. tomorrow, Girls Run These Worlds, and then Sunday, come back for Academy H as we get back to our main story and all of the characters that you know and love. It's going to be a really good time. It'll be nice to have everybody back together. I'm very excited for it. So tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, catch us recording 2 new episodes of Academy H, our Masks Actual Play podcast. And this coming week is probably Missing Numbers. I guess we'll find out tomorrow night if it's happening or not, but it's probably happening. And I think that's actually it, except for Redacted, which I'll let JD talk about. JD has a lot to talk about in this back half of this coming week.
Yes, that is true.
There's a social media handle down there. I'm at Stream on all social media platforms. I would tell you to go and like the tweet where we are trying to get JD to get the knuckle tats that say it's fine in Latin, but I think JD already decided that he's going to do it, so I guess you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can if you want. I will say I figured everybody has been so kind retweeting it that we deserve to count some of those retweets.
We do.
Extremely fair.
All right, JT.
Hi, I'm JT. I was Octavia Frostbite tonight. You can find me on Twitter at WeebJeet. Sometimes I tweet funny stuff, but mostly I just retweet stuff these guys tweet because they're fun little games. I have a lot of stuff going on this month. On Monday at I think either 6 or 8 p.m. I can't remember. I'm playing Cyberpunk Red on High Shelf Collective, being run by a good friend of ours. On Wednesday the 17th, I'm playing Good Strong Hands on Lost Caravan, being run by Didal, one of our GMs over there. On Saturday the 20th at 6 p.m., I am in a charity one-shot with High Shelf Collective. We're playing Monster of the Week. On the 25th, I am playing Wander Home with Lonnie and majority of our Nova cast over on Lost Caravan. On the 30th, I'm playing Nova with the Nova cast on Lost Caravan. That includes JD. So come say hi to us. And then next month, sometime, currently indeterminate, I will be running a game with Lost Caravan's Chaos Crew that I'm quite excited about. And of course, you can find me back here 2 more times to play Octavia as we see what the hell happens after all that.
I'm very glad we get the extra time.
Hello, it's me, Raph. I played Carmen today. I hope you enjoyed the lovely ASMR I provided, some Foley, straight to you from a thunderstorm. Let's see. What do I got on the docket? Next week, nothing except for on Thursday, the premiere of Redacted in JD's fun little game about fun times where nothing bad ever happens and everything's great.
That is true.
Absolutely. And then the week after that, we have the return of Class Reunion. So if you want some gay rights, gay wrongs, gay trauma, catch that And then there's some other stuff. Cold Iron, which is the Changeling game in June sometime?
Yeah,
I
late
don't remember.
June.
It's June.
It's June. Cool. June sometime, and then some other stuff that I don't know if it's been announced yet. So I'll just...
I think everything's been announced at this point, but just check.
Ish,
Keep an eye out. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. I think that's it.
Which means that it's just JD.
And it's just my time to get roasted as I list off the things that I am doing. So
Mhm.
what I can say is you will not find me anywhere tomorrow because our Locust game, our demo play, has been moved back a week. So I will have tomorrow off, which is good. I definitely need that to do some plotting. So no Locust this week, but in 2 weeks, you will get to see me play the worst human being I have ever created. And I'm really excited to do that and just be a terrible person. That I will be there for Academy H on Sunday. And I'm very excited to be back as my boy, Casimir Bright, because I have missed him. Got to have that bone magic happening. Can't take my shtick Raph. I'm not going to let that happen. On
It was
Monday,
an homage.
it was an
Yeah,
homage.
it's
Okay, I'll
homage.
take it. On Monday, you will find me with Tales from the Table Studios for SCP, A Crumbling Foundation. I will be off Tuesday and Wednesday, which is good because I am doing an absolutely wild thing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we're not going to talk about Sunday because those are session zeros, so it doesn't count.
Name
But
them.
but I
them.
will be running Redacted on Thursday night, a premiere of our psychological horror game, which uses a system that's powered by the Apocalypse Space that I created myself, which is all about iterations and cycles and dealing with the sins of your past. That'll be a lot of fun. No rammies for anyone.
It's just fun
Everybody,
times at the beach.
just fun times at the beach. It's a really
Those beach
nice
episodes
seaside
everyone's
town.
been wanting.
Yeah. So no worries about that. I will then on Friday go straight from working half a day into Thy Kingdom Come, where I will be playing Saint Soren Augustine, and then I will run Table 2, A Season of Secrets and Shadows. And then I don't actually have to acknowledge anything else because it is a little bit further out. So, like, we don't have to talk about some of the Wildcard Wednesday games or Cold Iron, but I will be in those as well. But, like, those aren't happening until the end of the month. So, like, it's fine. I will also be in Wander Home with JT for that one shot. And I will be in Nova Crew for those games as well, which will be happening at the end of this month and beginning of next month. And it's fine. I don't have a 19-day gaming streak. It's totally fine.
Why are you like this?
I
love
forgot to
you.
announce
Why?
6-5 is Nova Session 6.
Yep,
10.
that is happening. So yes, Will has called me out with everything that I
Incredible.
right now. It's fine. It's fine. And yes, as you've heard, we have 2 more sessions rather than only doing that once. That'll happen 3 times, but I can survive that and it'll be fine.
Yeah, we caught the murderer. It's just party time, right?
And yeah, I mean, like, these
I
next
need
few
a-
episodes
No
will be so
rammies!
chill. No
I need a
rammies.
new
It'll be a
character.
great time.
Just
Octavia
party
just
time
arced
and
out.
relationship drama. It's all
Arced
good.
out. What do you mean?
Octavia arced out. Octavia
They
said,
need
"Fuck, that's it."
romance.
That's
They
the
need
whole.
the
That's the whole arc.
kiss.
Actually, sorry.
I
They
think that
need
was
the
10.
kiss.
I think that's a
It
new
was
record.
10.
Lee.
I mean, I will say
Confession session.
What does that mean?
What if we kissed the
We'll tell you when
what
you're
if we
older.
confessed in the Infernal Church?
Can we do it? Can we do like a reunion like they do in reality TV shows and call it a confession session?
Oh
Yeah, it's
my
our side show. It's our
Oh my
talk show that we
God.
do.
god.
You
Confession
know what? I
session.
may allow this. I may allow this chaos. Oh my God.
Let us
Okay.
loose.
Then, everyone, I think it is officially 45 minutes later than we usually would be doing this. So I think with Will's help on the technical side, we will call it a night.
We are going to call it a night. We're going to disappear in just a second. If you're not already following us on social media, all the links are in the chat. And if you'd like to join the Discord community where things are just like this all the time, then
It's great.
yeah,
Horse
you can do that
licking.
too.
Cursed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about the first licking.
And that's all the stuff and the things. Follow us, join the Discord if you want to. We're gonna hop over to Fem Gamer Party and say hi. There are 2 raid messages in the chat. If you want to copy paste the first one, if you're subscribed, feel free. If you are not subscribed, that's totally fine. You shouldn't be. And you can grab the second one with the raccoons. But on that note, I think we're gonna call it a night here. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
everybody.
Good night.